fantastic day. Thanks for asking. Mine was awesome. Indeed, it's the day that we have much and more lined up for you. And actually, today a lot has happened as far as austerity measures is concerned. Remember, a budget cut of 117 billion Kenya shillings as part of austerity measures. Remember, this is in line with President William Ruto's to try and actually try to curb and cut some of the expenses that government will occur in this financial year of 2024, given the fact that the finance bill of 2024 actually failed. And of course, with that, then the government has to find other alternative means of trying to fund this particular budget. And of course, some of the austerity measures, let me just put you into perspective. Remember, we have a massive 117 billion shilling budget cut in a move to cut government expenditure, among other austerities measures. Now, the dissolution of 47 state corporations whose functions overlap, and of course whose function overlap each other's, and then we have a mandatory retirement for all state officials under the age of 60 years and above as part of austerity measures to cut the budget expenditure. In line with that, remember the proposed 50 CAS positions that were it was a subject of debate and of course court procedure, but given the light of fact and the fact that government and of course the members of parliament approved this particular appointment of at least 50 CS, then that one also has been halted for now, and this 50 CAS will have to wait for a little bit longer, at least not for this financial year of 2024-2025, and that is part of austerity measures. And of course, we have now some other areas that are lined up for you. Remember, the head of state, President William Ruto, has scrapped off the office of the First Lady, the Second Lady, the spouse of Prime Cabinet Secretary, in order to actually, the combined offices will have cost taxpayer at least 1.1 billion, and I'm talking about over 1.1 billion Kenya shillings. So given with this all budget expenditure and a way of living within our means, then the head of state has scrapped those offices in order to pave way and actually accommodate this ambitious budget of 4 trillion. And this is just some of the highlights that President William Ruto and of course the steps that the government is taking to reduce the budget expenditure. In line with that, remember, still the head of state has banned Harambes, and that is in line still with what will be happening a little bit on later on, given the fact that members of public have actually criticized some of the manners in which state officials, members of parliament, and in regard to that, politicians, the manner that they have been dishing out monies in public harambes and even in contributions and fundraisers. And this has sparked a lot of outrage among Kenyans, and some were complaining that how can they account for this money. Now, in line to quell the ever-rising tension and of course the lack of trust from members of public to the government, now the head of state has banned these barazas in line with that. And remember, these are just some of the austerity measures put in place to try and reduce additional budget of 117 billion Kenya shillings. In line with this, remember, we have a deficit of over 300 billion that the finance bill of 2024 actually had proposed ways of raising this additional revenue. With now the collapse of this, then the government had to go back to the drawing board, and these are some of the measures, the austerities measures they call, as they call it, just to try and make sure that the government lives within our means. Remember, earlier on, President William Ruto had indicated that with the collapse of finance bill, then the government had to at least borrow 1 trillion. Now we have a change of tune, and maybe things might not be easy in the near future. Remember, we have a comprehensive coverage of all these stories and many others in our comprehensive coverage tonight. But first thing first, our top stories tonight. Living within our means, Ruto bans unnecessary travel as the office of First and Second Lady and spouse of Prime CS scrapped. You are not alone. Ruto sends condolences to the families of fallen anti-finance bill protesters. Also tonight, we want justice. Gen Z on X demands action for atrocities committed by police during anti-finance bill protests. Plus, the looming strike. Predicts gives state until Monday next week to hire intern doctors or else they resort to mass action.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
That's right. Tonight I'm not alone. I'm in full backup of the ever-competent Joy Mutava. Remember, you can plug into this discussion tonight. And of course, our bulletin tonight, you can talk to us on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTVNEWS. And of course, you can tweet me on X at Auma Evans at KUTV_Kenya. And we'll be sure to sample all of your feedback at the tail end of our bulletin tonight. So tonight we begin with our top story, where President William Ruto has announced a massive 117 billion shillings budget cut, which will be accentuated by, among other austerity measures, the dissolution of 47 state corporations whose functions overlap, and the immediate retirement of all public servants aged 60 and above. Ruto spoke at State House moments before the scheduled engagement with the Kenyans on X. Our very own Munene Weru is on that beat tonight.
The wind of change accentuated by protests and online activism has swept over State House. President William Ruto cornered to make a major financial shakeup. Ruto's austerity acts falling on major offices and state corporations in its wake, in what seemed as a charm offensive, heralding the X pace that was scheduled moments after Ruto's State House speech.
In keeping with the enhanced austerity measures we have committed to implement and align government expenditures within the budgetary implications of the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024, the following actions shall be taken with immediate effect towards the realization of the new budget.
The first casualty of Ruto's budgetary shakeup are state corporations, 47 of whose functions overlap, will be scraped off completely. CASs who had been promised a slice of Ruto's wage bill will not be appointed anytime soon, while all public servants aged 60 and above will be retired with immediate effect.
47 state corporations with overlapping and duplicating functions will be dissolved, resulting in the elimination of their operational and maintenance costs, and their functions will be integrated into the respective line ministries.
Also on the chopping board are the First and Second Lady, as well as the spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who jointly enjoy a 1.2 billion shillings allocation. President Ruto has slashed budget for Rachel Ruto, Dorcas Rigathi, and Tessie Musalia.
Budget lines providing for the operations of the office of the First Lady, the spouse of the Deputy President, and the Prime Cabinet Secretary will be removed. Similarly, the budget provisions for confidential budgets in various executive offices, including my own office, have been removed.
Renovation billions meant for State House and Gachagwa's current residents have been stopped on their tracks. The president and his deputies said to see a year off without making any vehicle purchases. Foreign visits, the president's recent ones spurring a fair share of controversy, have also been limited.
The purchase of new motor vehicles by the government is suspended for 12 months, except for security agencies, while a new policy on transport for public officers will be developed. all non-essential travel by state and public officers is hereby suspended.
Prior to Ruto's address, a cabinet reshuffle was rumored to be in the making. However, CSS will live to fight another day as the president pushed forward plans for the eagerly awaited cabinet shakeup. Munaneweru, KUTV.
All right, while you contemplate on that, still on the head of state, President William Ruto has today condoled with the families that lost their loved ones during the anti-finance bill demonstrations during press briefing at State House, Nairobi. Ruto has promised to support the families of those who lost their loved ones and those nursing gunshot wounds.
Once again, I extend my deepest condolences to those who unfortunately lost their lives. One life, as we all know, lost is a life too many. To the mothers, fathers, siblings, relatives, and friends of those who lost their lives, my deepest sympathies and condolences to you all. Equally, to the many others who are injured and recuperating, I wish them quick recovery. The government of Kenya will support all those who've lost their lives and those who've been injured.
All right, a lot of questions have been asked about the manner at which our public debt is actually managed and how much we borrow and of course how much we pay. And soon you might get an answer to that. Now, following a meeting held today at State House, President William Ruto called for an independent task force to carry out a financial audit over a period of 3 months to find out the nature of Kenya's public debt. Ivy Masharia with more details.
Speaking today at State House, President William Ruto has appointed an independent task force to carry out a comprehensive financial audit to find out the nature of Kenya's public debt, with the committee expected to conclude the audit in 3 months' time.
I have today appointed an independent task force to carry out a comprehensive forensic audit over our public debt and report to us in the next 3 months. This audit will provide the people of Kenya with clarity on the extent and nature of our debt, how public resources have been expended, and will also recommend proposals for managing our public debt in a manner that is sustainable and does not burden future generations.
This audit is to be carried out in a bid to promote transparency and clarity on the extent of Kenya's debt, how public resources have been expended, and resolutions on how to manage Kenya's debt. This comes after Kenyans took to the streets these past 2 weeks to protest against the punitive finance bill and budget of the year 2024-2025. According to a Gazette notice issued after the president's address, Nancy Onyango will chair the 8-member committee, with Professor Louis Frankeski being appointed as the vice chairperson. The members include CPA Philip Kakai of the Institution of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo of the Law Society of Kenya, Shama Kiteme of the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, and Vincent Kimosop. President William Ruto also announced that his administration will propose budget cuts of 177 billion shillings to Parliament following extensive consultations and an assessment by the National Treasury. The proposal to Parliament will include a budget cut of 177 billion shillings, with the remaining amount being borrowed.
We have since, after extensive consultations, struck a middle ground, and we will be proposing to the National Assembly a budget cut of not the entire 346, but a budget cut of 177 billion and borrowing the difference.
The borrowed funds will be allocated to, among other functions, the hiring of junior secondary school teachers and medical interns. Kenya's public debt shot up by 1.93 trillion by the end of last year, raising the country's debt to an all-new high of 11.14 trillion. Total public debt stands at an estimated 68% of GDP for fiscal year 2023-2024 and is expected to fall to 64.8% in 2024-2025, according to the World Bank. Ivy Masharia, KUTV.
All right, and just a follow-up on that, President has actually appointed, the forensics audit public debt, of course, and those that will oversee this audit for the period of 3 months. Nancy Anyango as the chairperson, and of course that she will be co-chaired by Francisca as the chairperson. Ruto appoints Law Society of Kenya President Faith Odhiambo as among the members of the 8-member team that will actually audit this public debt. And of course we have Philip Kaikai, Institute of Engineers of Kenya President, and we have Shama Kitemi and Vincent Kimoso among other appointees that have been mandated and tasked with the responsibility of overseeing the audit of this public debt and bring answers to Kenyans within 3 months. Now let's move on. State officers and public servants are now prohibited from taking any part in any public harambes and contributions. The pronouncement made by President William Ruto comes a few weeks after the Gen Zs through social media platforms warned of terming it negligence over their wishes. And as Ochieng Cynthia reports, the move is seen as a way of fostering or rather restoring public trust amid fading trust from Kenyans in President William Ruto's administration.
Public servants and head of states are now prohibited from taking part in public harambes following a directive issued by President William Ruto this afternoon during a press briefing at State House.
No state officer or public servant shall participate in public contributions or harambes going forward.
This is as a section of citizens that took part in the anti-finance bill demos online have for the past couple of weeks raised issues with the move of politicians flaunting large sums of money in public, some even condemning the church for providing a platform for politicians to drive their agendas in exchange of the said donations. With the concerns, the president claimed that even with the donations, pressing issues remain unsolved. With the rise of Gen Z movement issuing declarations to church leaders, warning them against accommodating politicians who have allegedly been betraying the public, there has been a noticeable shift. Recently, politicians have been seen shunning churches due to these declarations.
The Attorney General is hereby directed to prepare and submit legislation to this effect and develop a mechanism for structured and transparent contributions for public, charitable, and philanthropic purposes.
Gen Zs have been vocal about what they perceive as betrayals, claiming that instead of supporting the citizens and holding leaders accountable, church leaders continue to host state officials. For instance, recently, First Lady Rachel Ruto became a target of youth's frustration, leading to the cancellation of her invitation to a fundraising service by the Anglican United Church. The presser by the head of states came minutes before the scheduled X-Space meeting between President Ruto and the Gen Zs to discuss pressing issues that could be involved or given weight by the state towards bettering the innovative and inventive space to the youths. Ochieng Cynthia, KUTV News at 9.
Thank you, Ochieng Cynthia, for that. Now, switching gears to medical matters, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentist Union has announced plans to occupy the Ministry of Health offices in Nairobi starting Monday, July 8th, 2024. They intend to continue with this action until all medical interns are allocated to the health facilities nationwide, and as outlined in the 2017 Collective Bargaining Agreement, or if you prefer the acronym CBA. Jailina Kwara reports.
A fresh battle is emerging between the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union KMPDU and the Ministry of Health. KMPDU has highlighted 5 issues, and if the government does not meet their demands, they have pledged to begin protests at the Ministry of Health headquarters on July 8th until all medical interns are assigned to health facilities nationwide. KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela stated that the union has been conducting a series of meetings to implement the return to work agreement at Kenyatta National Hospital and the Ministry of Health. He warned that union members would hold mass protests on Monday, July 8th, if the government does not address their issues. KMPDU highlighted 5 issues, including the immediate posting of all medical interns and ensuring their payment according to the collective bargaining agreement. They are also calling for the establishment of a health service commission and the reinstatement of the Linda Mama program. Additionally, they have voiced their disapproval of the Social Health Insurance Fund (SHIF). Delays in the posting of interns, for which KMPDU blamed the national government, led to a doctor's strike in late February 2024. The union followed through on its strike threat with a comprehensive 19-point grievance list, demanding the Ministry of Health to address their concerns. Joylene Akware, KUTV.
Alright, now let's switch gears to Kirinyaga County, where police are now investigating an incident where a 41-year-old person died following a fire incident in Kirinyaga County. The fire broke out at exactly 2 a.m. after the deceased returned to the house, leaving the wife at the illicit brew dens. The neighbors explained that the deceased was found dead near the door trying to escape, suspecting that the door was locked from the outside.
Shock and grief has engulfed Mburu village in Gishugu, Kirinyaga County after a 41-year-old man died after his house caught fire, burning everything into ashes. According to the neighbors and family members, James Nyaga, the deceased, has been having marital issues with his wife, who together have been spending days and nights in the alcohol dens.
Brother yangu amechomekewa huku. Saa acha kwanza nianzie, niko na huzuni sana juu venye alioa mbimbi yake huku walikuwa wanagombana kabisa, walikuwa wanapigana kila siku.
On the night of death, the deceased spent most of the hours in the afternoon fighting with the wife, and after the fight, they together headed to the illicit brew dens. At around 10 p.m., the deceased is said to have come back alone to the house without the wife, only for him to be burned to death by the fierce fire that broke out at 2 a.m.
Wenye walikuwa ndani wakagombana, nikafikiria mbimbi yake alitoka akafunga na nje alafu akaenda. Saa sinda ninashindwa kama nyumba ilikuwa inachomeka, wenye walikuwa wameitwa huku walifanya nini?
However, neighbors have suspected that someone is responsible for the death of James Njaga, since he was found dead near the door trying to escape while the door was locked from the outside.
Hata alikuwa na jaribu kutoka, hata alikuwa na nyondo, unaweza kumiona kwa mlango mahali alikuwa na piga atoke. Sasa tukaona kama Nyaga alikuwa anajaribu kujiokoa, lakini akafungiwa na nje.
The community has blamed alcohol and substance abuse over the increased cases of domestic violence and theft in the area, therefore calling on the security agencies to take action.
Hii mambo yote imeletwa na pombe. Isipokuwa ni pombe, hii mambo ingefanyika. Na vile tumeangalia na tumeona, I want to call upon security apparatus to investigate this and to see that Nyaga and the family of Nyaga wamepata haki yao.
The family now want proper investigations conducted to ensure the culprits behind the death are brought to book. Songoro Masimira, KUTV.
Alright, it is time to take a very short break here on KUTV Primetime News. Remember, plenty more to follow after the break.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii, na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuweni. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari-ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
Get ready to embark on a journey into the exciting world of technology as we uncover the latest trends, interview top thought leaders, and dive deep into the world of tech like never before.
Currently, we are facing the challenge in terms of finance. It requires one to move from different counties because we really need a large data set for our model to be more accurate.
In this new and exciting series of the Technovation Show, join me, Yvonne Kimuma, every Monday 8:30 p.m. for a fun and thrilling experience as we explore the cutting-edge developments, meet visionaries driving change.
Somebody who is in the underground mine doesn't know the presence of those gases. So there are a lot of gases involved. There is methane, there is carbon monoxide, and there's also hydrogen sulfide. These gases actually, they are very dangerous and they're very toxic.
And discover the endless possibilities of the tech world.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
All right, welcome back, and you chose to stay with us. Now let's continue. Now, a historic shift in British politics has been witnessed as Rishi Sunak's Conservative Party conceded to Keir Starmer's Labour Party, which secured over 336 out of possible 650 seats. After 14 years of leadership, the Conservatives have faced a disappointing experience as voters express their frustrations over economic hardships from their government. Now, however, Keir Starmer promises a new era of governance in the UK, while Sunak gracefully acknowledges the need for change. From UK back to the country, owners of commercial sites have been charged with violating environmental management standards during a sting inspection conducted by the National Environmental Management Authority (NEMA), while NEMA accused private health facilities and service stations of aiding and abating the outbreak of waterborne diseases that were common in the area, leading to the arrest of the quality parties.
Several business owners and traders in Kisii County have been charged for environmental management violations following a sting operation by the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA. The crackdown targeted private health facilities and services stations in the area, leading to arrests. While speaking during the crackdown, NEMA officials attributed the outbreak of waterborne diseases to improper disposal of liquid and solid waste, which they warned could escalate into an epidemic. Robert Orina, the deputy director in charge of compliance, led a team in operation at Suneka in Kisii town. He stated that all facilities in Kisii are required to conduct regular environmental assessments, and some facilities have been built without meeting legal requirements.
As you know, all facilities are required to undertake environmental impact assessments and thereafter annual audits regularly. But we have noted from the sites we have visited, some of these facilities, despite that they are high-risk facilities, they have put up those facilities without following the legal requirements.
Orina vowed to work closely with the relevant authorities to ensure only compliant facilities are licensed.
As an authority, we are not going to relent. We are going to follow up on all the hospitals in this county that have not complied to make sure that they have complied. And those ones that are persistent in non-compliance, of course, we will take the necessary enforcement action.
Kisii County officer in charge of environment, Simon Tanui, explained the operation was part of the Rapid Environment Emergency Response Unit, RERU, meant to enforce compliance with the state environmental management provisions.
We have been handling those who discharge sewage into the environment, the others who actually undertake the treatment, like the petrol stations, but they have failed to get the requisite documents, the requisite licenses for them to operate. These licenses are meant to regulate operations and anything that is touching on environment.
The crackdown underscores NEMA's commitment to safeguarding public health and ensuring strict adherence to environmental regulations across Kisii County. Becky Massey, reporting for KUTV.
All right, thank you, Becky Massey, for that. Now, moving on, President William Ruto has assured Kenyans that he will work on their demands, including the issue of addressing illegal abductions witnessed during the protest. While engaging with Kenyans on the planned X-Space meeting, Ruto emphasized the government's aim to digitalize the public services to ensure Kenyans get justice. Additionally, he said that his government will help the families of the victims of the anti-finance bill at a time when calls for justice dominated much of the conversation.
President William Ruto's move to hold talks with Gen Zs on the X-Space turned out interactive, with many Kenyans turning up to air their ideas on the current state of the nation in relation to the damages and losses incurred countrywide. This comes after former Agriculture Minister Kipruto Arap Kirwa termed the meeting as ill-advised, suggesting that the government agency should handle the youth engagement instead of the president himself. With more than 1 million Kenyans attending the meeting, it was however evident that the countrywide heat-up was still an area of great concern, with many expressing their disappointments with the state of the nation.
I want to promise you that part of the pushback we had on implementing our universal health coverage is because of corruption. Very many corrupt people who are gaming NHIF were against what we were doing. That is why they went to every court available, trying to sabotage this program, because they know that they will be out of business once we roll out this program, because there will be no room for them to hide. It is also the reason why, my good friend, I am digitizing government services, because I want to reduce the interaction between Kenyans and officers who sometimes ask for bribes left, right, and center.
Basing his supporting statements from the ongoing development projects in various sectors of health, agriculture, business opportunities, and the governmental leadership, President Ruto assured Kenyans of digitalized systems in relation to the public services as a way of curbing corruption.
When they don't agree with you, and that's what the president is trying to do here. We don't agree with him, and that's why we want him to listen to us, and he agreed to come to the space. And moving forward, I really want to tell the president that, Mr. President, you know that your success is our success, and we really want you to succeed. The problem is that I don't know if you really want yourself to succeed as a president of Kenya. Because from the moment you got to be the president, there are things you did which I think just sabotage your presidency.
President Ruto, however, clarified that the land rent issues alleged to have been stated in the finance bill was not included, elaborating on the police independence in dealing with the invaders of the protest. Moreover, he passed his condolences to the families that lost their loved ones, promising to stand with the families. Brian Auma, KUTV.
Thank you, Brian. Residents from Kakuzini in Gatanga, Murang'a County have taken to the streets in push for a new constituency called Kakuzi constituency, claiming that they will gain development and services near them. They allege that their current member of parliament concentrates much on the lower Gatanga that stretches from Dakaini, Kirkwara, and Jogo Kimaikia.
While carrying twigs, placards, and whistle, the residents of Kakuzi in Gatanga, Murang'a County have taken it to the streets to push for a split of the larger Gatanga constituency into two, expressing their concerns of discrimination and mistreatment. They accuse their local leaders, who included the area member of parliament Edward Moreu, Murang'a Governor Irongo Kang'ata, and other elected leaders of neglecting them.
Sisi kama wakazi wa huku tutazunguka Katanga imedividiwa mara mbili. Tutazunguka Katanga South. Akaange akijua tunataka kuganisha mara mbili. Katanga South tuchukue kule zetu. Na yeye akaya na huko wenyewe anasaidia huko Katanga North.
Tunataka tutengenezewe barabara, lakini tumechoka, ule mtu tulichagua atusaidii sababu barabara hatutengenezei.
They decried of poor road infrastructure, among other essential amenities such as water, electricity, and health facilities, adding that they have to carry sick people on their shoulders while walking for many kilometers before they reach to the main road.
Shida yetu hapa ni barabara, hatuna stima, hata tukipata miba siku hizi tunaenda mtu anadanganya kivyake baka Makoyo, unapata umejifungulia kwa jia, hiyo nao ni poa, si poa.
The residents have called on the Kenya Human Rights Commission and National Land Commission to help them get their lands back, a case that they alleged won, but the issue was never settled, accusing the surrounding multinational Kakuzi Company Limited of historical injustices, which discourages their push to be settled. They added that they want to be issued with title deeds.
Mashamba turudishiwa mashamba yetu, juu tulifanya case ya mashamba na tukashinda, lakini Kakuzi ikakimbia kotini wakarudisha appeal. Kwa hivyo tungetaka hiyo mashamba Kenya National Human Rights Commission na National Land washukumane ndio tuone hiyo shamba yetu tumepata.
The angry residents who aired a lot of problems affecting them, including unemployment, have threatened to dethrone their member of parliament. Ndongo Pauline, KUTV.
Right, let's take another very short breather here on KUTV Primetime News. Remember, we'll be coming back with sporting news.
Kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
Kenyatta University will hold its 55th graduation ceremony on Friday, 19th July 2024 at the main campus along the Thika Superhighway. KUTV will provide live coverage of the graduation ceremony from 8 a.m. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KUTV and KU website, Lola app and all KU social media platforms. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786-335111 or visit the KU website on www.ku.ac.ke. The theme for the graduation ceremony is Education for Prosperity and Sustainable Development. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
You know, Nambi, I'm just saying, if you're having some doubts because the wedding is getting closer, that's okay. But you have to believe someone when they show you who they really are. Do you understand me? Be strong. Everything will be okay.
Here is to the happy couple. May the bride price make the bondage of marriage worth it. A toast to your first wife, young man, and I'm sure she won't be the last.
Time for sporty news. Nairobi City Thunders will face Equity Dumas for the Game 3 of the semi-finals playoffs tonight at the Nyayo Gymnasium in Nairobi. A win will guarantee Thunders a place in the final, while Equity Dumas will need to win Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, with a triple wins guaranteeing them a place in the final. In a Game 1 and Game 2, Thunders won 79-77 and 69-66 respectively 2 weeks ago to take one foot into the final, where they are likely to face the defending champions Kenya Ports Authority. All right, now Portugal will take on France in the second quarterfinal match of the day in the UEFA Euros 2024 at the Hamburg Stadium in heavyweight encounter, as both teams look to secure their spot in the semi-final. France will be looking to have the revenge after the Euros 2016 final 1-0 loss to Portugal in Paris, as Portugal looks to overcome a formidable and determined France side. The match kickoff at exactly 10 p.m. East Africa time. Well, for supporters of the host nation Germany, well, a heartbreak, sad news. Indeed, for the nation of Germany and of course for the supporters of the same team, this is after they were beaten at home 2-1 by Spain. And that is the first match of the first semi-finals of the, I beg your pardon, the first quarterfinals of the Euros 2024. The host nation apparently and sadly will be staying home and probably watching somewhere in between the fence, and that is the sad story of Germany. But congratulations to Spain, and of course for Spain supporters. And that is how we wrap it up tonight. Many thanks for the men and women behind the scene, and for you, our esteemed viewers, for always keeping us a company in the last 45 minutes or so. My good name is Auma Evans. Joy Mutava has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Until next time, do have a lovely day, and God bless Kenya. Thank you.